Today we're going to be playing with knives. That's right. We have the Klecker trigger knife kit. Actually, this is not the kit. This is one of these that are put together ready. I had some fun putting this one together. Just a simple gray one. It's a very cool kit. If anyone out there tells you playing with knives is dangerous and you're not supposed to play with knives, you smack them directly in the face and say that's nonsense. Because playing with knives can be extremely fun, such as this one. Or this one, which are wonderfully on loan by a viewer. I'm having a lot of fun with these, and yes, you will see reviews on these in the future. But these certainly are very dangerous to play with and have fun with, as opposed to this awesome little knife kit. I have two more kits here, which I'm going to be putting together. I'm actually mixing and matching because I want a black and white version, so I'm going to be mixing the parts. But I'll basically show you how to put it together. There's other videos on this already. Just want to do my own because they're really fun. I had a blast putting this together. It's really straightforward, very simple. I would say that most little kids can put this together and have fun. They're not gonna get frustrated. There's not a whole lot to it. They come with very clear instructions in here. And it's just really cool. It's fun to play with. I've been playing with this little plastic knife just as much as I play with my real knives. It's just fun to just open and close. This happens to be a little lockback design. I love the idea of this. You know, I did the first Klecker knife kit with the wooden kit. I think it was Nathan's knife. That's what it was called. I had a blast. It was really, really cool. And, you know, I'm glad to see they actually came out with another version. I would love nothing more than to see just dozens and dozens of different styles, perhaps different locking mechanisms. I know doing with an all, like, injected molded type plastic, it might be difficult to do certain things like liner locks, you know, where you have to, you know, use a piece that bends, you know, perhaps frame locks, things of that nature might be more difficult. But this is awesome. It's really, really cool. So we're going to put a couple of these together, just basically go through the process to show you how this works. Highly recommended. Anyone out there is into knives, men or women. If you have kids, it's really, really fun. If you don't have kids, it's still really, really fun. It's just a fun thing to have around. And I love it. I think it's really cool. Plus, it's a cool knife design. I like to see this actual knife. You know, you have the little plastic kit version, and then you have a steel version. That'd be really awesome too if you have basically a kit to put together yourself. I mean, of course, they make knife kits where you can sharpen your own blades and things of that nature, but this is just really neat. I like it. So today we're going to be putting these together. Like I said, I'm going to be mixing and matching the parts, but basically I'll get one set of parts together to show you how it works. So, black and white. One will be black handles with a white blade, white hardware, white backspacer, you know, spring and so forth. And the other one will be the reverse. So let's get into these kits. Actually, you don't really need a knife to get into here, although it's much more fun. Basically pop that out, you have some staples in there. All right, our parts come out one nice piece. I'm gonna punch them out. Going to one set of instructions here. Okay, so first we go over a parts list, then we'll go over basically the very simple, straightforward instructions on how this works. All right, so I'm gonna punch out our blade. Basically, just kind of wiggling these pieces back and forth. You can see that they're going to pop off of the mold here. All right, just be gentle with it. I think it'd be very hard to actually break the pieces. Now, if you want, you can go back with some rough sandpaper and knock off some of the edges here, where you may have an extra piece coming off, sticking out from the mold itself. It's not a huge deal. I didn't do that with this one. You can see some of the pins have a little bit of extra plastic attached to it. It's not a huge deal. It's still completely functional. But if you want to kind of finish it up, or did this before you got it together for your kids, this way it's more perfect, you can certainly do so, but it's not completely necessary. So we're going to twist out our handles. So obviously we have one blade, two handle scales. Let's get these nice and organized here. We have our lockback, or locking bar rather. Then we have our spring. This is going to give our spring tension inside. Okay, now this is a piece that obviously bends, so maybe you can do something like this with a frame lock or similar. Then of course we have all of our pins here. All right, so just kind of bend these back and forth. First I'm going to take off this bar, and then each pin. And we're going to do the same obviously for the black. Like I said, I'm going to mix and match the parts here so that we have a multicolored knife. And they come with a crap load of colors. There's all the color options: black, pink, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. And it's not pictured here, but obviously gray as well, and white. So you can mix and match any way you want. I think white goes great and black goes great with any color. If you did black handles with like a green blade or red blade, it'd be really cool. Well, you can pick whatever you want. So, pulling out the pieces. Kind of a boring part of the video. What's that, Jeff? Just edit this out? I could, but apparently I didn't because I'm still talking. We're almost there anyway. Patience is virtue. All right. Some pins, some pins, some pins. Okay. So now we have basically all of our parts here. And I'm going to be swapping. I'm going to put the white pins on this side. All right. We're going to swap our lock bar and our springs and our blades. So this would be black scales with basically white everything else, and then the reverse, white scales with black everything else. Very cool. Okay, so we'll look at our instructions, even though this is pretty straightforward, and you could probably figure this out on your own. One suggestion, if you do have more than one kit, maybe for the first kit, you go over with your child or whoever you're doing this with. You can go over the instructions on how to do it. In the second kit, don't use any instructions. See if they can figure it out by themselves. What's awesome about this kit is that you can take it apart. It's not permanent. They just press fit in all the pieces. You can remove it. You can super glue it together if you want to keep it together permanently so they don't fall apart in case you're dealing with some younger kids that may swallow a piece or two. So that's certainly an option as well. So first thing they're suggesting you do is step A, twist or cut the parts out from the frame. Okay, I guess you could cut them out, but it's not really necessary. Step B, take 4 pins and insert them into the holes in the handle as shown. There's 1 extra pin in case one goes missing. All right, so it's good to know. So we have 4 pins here. We take our handle scale. So let's do this one first. Take our handle scale like that. Now remember, it's gonna be, if you're looking at it from a top position, it's gonna be our right scale. Okay, if it's on the bottom. And we're gonna basically put our 4 pins in. So our first pin is gonna be in the pivot. Like I said, these are just kind of press fit in there. Our second pin is gonna be for our lock bar. Third pin is going to be for our spring, as well as the last pin is also for a spring and the frame. So there we go. And then our extra pin we don't need because we didn't lose one. So let's put that aside for now. Okay, so that's the first part, very straightforward. Second step, or third step rather. Place the rear spacer with the spring attached onto the 2 pins on the right side of the handle. So very simply, give you a closer shot of that. We're going to put our spring on. All right, so as it's showing, we're putting our spring on just like this. And it's going to go over our 2 pins. Okay. Now, if you look at this, you'll see, of course, you want the spring to match the shape of the handle because when you push down the lock bar, it's going to give you your spring tension here. All right, very simple, very straightforward. Step D, put the lock bar onto the center pin and position it until it slides down the rest of the handle. So now we're putting our lock bar in. And again, if you look and explain the mechanics of how lockback works to your child or whoever you're doing this with, you'll mention that obviously our blade's gonna be here and that the notch cutout is gonna match up with the extension on our lock bar, just like so. So that's how you're going to be placing it into the knife. So the hole in the middle is gonna go over that center pin. And basically we're going to put this in front of our spring, just like so. So this is how it works. You have constant tension on the knife, all right? And then when it's open, it's going to lock into the back of the blade, and this is going to extend up just a little bit, all right? And to release the blade, we're going to be pushing that in, just like a normal lockback knife, just happens to be plastic parts. Okay. Step B, press down on the back end of the lock bar in the direction shown and then place the knife onto the pivot pin. Release the lock bar and rotate the knife until it locks into place as shown. So that's a really complicated way of saying putting the blade on and moving the lock out of the way. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put a little tension on our lock to release the top. It just pivots like a little seesaw. And we're putting our blade over our pivot pin. just like so. Very simple, very straightforward. And of course, the last step here is to take the second handle and place it over the 4 pins, press it gently into place. So our top handle scale obviously will line up with our 4 pins here. All right, once you have it lined up nicely, don't force anything, just gently push down until everything is set in place. Now, of course, you will have a little extension on either side. Again, that's the over molding. You know, we can sand that piece off, or if you wiggle it back and forth, it might even pop off. But you can also push down on both sides on a hard surface to make sure everything's even on both sides. And there we go. Then you want to test the knife, make sure it opens and closes properly. Cool little color combination here. Actually, I'd love to have a knife like that. Black G10 scales, maybe a white Cerakoted blade. Be pretty neat, something different, right? There you go. You have your working lock back. Very cool for kids to play around with. Obviously there's no cutting edge whatsoever. It's very dull, very blunt. It's plastic. If you were to try to stab someone with this, it would snap. You can see there's a lot of flex in here. So even if someone literally stabs someone really hard with it, it would break off. It wouldn't penetrate into the skin. There's no tip on this at all, no edge. It's extremely safe. You could poke an eye out, but you can poke an eye out with anything. So just obviously use some caution with little kids, but very cool. So I'm gonna put the other one together real quick, just going by memory. There's our bottom scale. Let's put in all 4 of our pins. Like I said, what's cool is you can take these apart and switch the colors around if you want. If you bought a bunch of sets, you can constantly try different color combinations. There's our extra pin we don't need. We can put in our spring. And we can put in our lock bar, just like so. And a blade. So if you do this with kids, they get used to doing it. It's a breeze to put together. It's a lot of fun. And it's really cool to show the mechanics of how lockback knives work. So there we go. There's our black and white with the black blade and the white scales. That's actually an awesome combo too. I've always been a fan of white scales on knives. So I'd love to have a real knife look like this. Pretty cool. So there you go. There's 2 different color variations on the trigger knife kit. From Klecker knives. Very awesome. I'm going to put a link in the description box directly to the site if you want to get these things. I know there are dealers out there that do sell them. I think Blade HQ has them offhand, but I'm sure there's other places that sell them as well. But I'll give you a direct link so you can see from the website what dealers have them and maybe what the best price may be. But these things are they're a blast to play with. I don't have any kids, obviously, and I'm having a lot of fun putting these together. In fact, I'll take these apart later and make an all white one again, an all black one, maybe experiment with the gray one a little bit. And I will sand down all of these little pieces. And these are great little things to have. Particularly in my case, I don't get company often, but when I do get company, if there's little kids and they kind of look at the, my display cases with my knives and they want to play with them, I have something to give them. I've always done that. In fact, back in the day, I used to have the Victorinox, my first knife thing. It was for like 3 or 4-year-olds. It was all plastic, had a big old spoon in it and stuff. It was pretty cool. And I ended up giving that to my cousin when they came over because he wanted to play with my knives and he was too little to play with my real knives. So I gave him that and he had a blast. So it's a cool little option to have if you have kids around all the time and they're kind of eyeballing your knife case. So they feel special, they have their own little knife, and of course it's completely safe for them to play with. And in this case, they can actually take it apart and put it back together, which is really, really cool. So if you ask me, beats the heck out of Legos, even though Legos are awesome, Lego knives, even better. I'd like to see a Lego gun soon. Or, a gun kit like this. Someone else had mentioned that in a video. I don't remember exactly who. I want to give them credit, but I would totally agree 100%. I'd love to see a gun version of this where you can kind of snap a gun together and see how the inner parts work and stuff like that. Maybe, shoot some airsoft BBs or something. So, anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching, guys. Highly recommended for kids. Completely safe, very fun, very educational, and a total blast to do. So, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Take care.